Dear participants, welcome to the INDO-UK Seminar on Future of Teaching, Learning and Assessment in Higher Education. We will be starting very shortly.
Yeah, good morning and welcome all.
Good morning and welcome all. Good morning and welcome all. Good morning and welcome all.
दोनों जगह एक का वॉल्यूम बढ़ी था।
मत कर लेते हैं। First time hybrid. Good morning and welcome all dear colleagues who have joined in online mode. We will shortly start. Just bear with us. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Arun, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the INDO-UK Seminar on Future of Teaching, Learning and Assessment in Higher Education. It is indeed my honor to welcome each one of you, especially Sardar Talochan Singh sir. Welcome, sir. Chairman, Governing Body, SCTB Khalsa College. Professor Ved Prakash sir, former Chairman UGC. Welcome, sir. We have two distinguished guests from UK, Professor Christopher Manley and Professor Phil Jones. So welcome to both of you. We also have very eminent academicians amongst us. Professor A.K. Bakshi sir will be joining online from UK. Welcome to him. We also have the privilege of having Professor Mohammad Mia sir, who is former Vice Chancellor Maulana Azad National Urdu University and member UGC Commission. Welcome, sir. We also have Professor O.P. Kalra, sir, Vice Chancellor SCT University. Welcome, sir. We also have Professor C.S. Dubey amongst us, who is Vice Chancellor K.R. Mangalam University. Welcome, sir. And a former colleague from Delhi University. Many other distinguished guests, especially I will also mention Gagan Agarwal and Mr. Nandi, who have been instrumental in making association with the UK universities and various groups. My own colleagues, Professor Sarita Pasi, Dr. Arun Julka, and all my dear colleagues who are present in front of me and who are attending this online. My welcome to each one of you. Before we start, I will request all the distinguished dignitaries to be joining there for the lighting of the lamp. I will request Sardar Talochan Singh sir, please come on the dais, and request Dr. Jaswinder sir to escort both Sardar Talochan Singh sir and Professor Ved Prakash sir to please come on the dais. I'll also request my team to be helping me in giving the welcome part to our distinguished guests. And we can request Sadata Lochan Singh sir to first of all welcome Professor Ved Prakash sir with our traditional Fulkari dupatta and a token of small appreciation as a gift.
Oh, you are always our guest.
I will also request Sadata Lochan Singh sir to please welcome our foreign distinguished guest speakers, Phil Jones and Christopher Manley. And also, yeah, mementos for this is the GAD-TLC, yeah, logo, which has been specially designed for empowering teachers in the technology front. To Chris Manley. I will request Principal Sir to welcome Sadata Lochan sir. I will also now request to welcome sir. We have three more Vice Chancellors, distinguished personalities with us. Yeah, we have Professor Mohammad Mia, we have Professor O.P. Kalra and Professor C.S. Dubey. So please, I will request you to honor all of them. And once again, welcome to each one of you who have joined here in person and all my online colleagues, participants, and all the organizing team members. I welcome you on behalf of NPTC group of colleges, where recently we visited, and we also had an earlier association where we had the training program, the teachers training program, and also one conference with them. I also welcome each one of you on behalf of Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, a center of Ministry of Education, Government of India, under the prestigious Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme. And in this, we have visionary leadership and guidance of patron GAD-TLC, Padma Bhushan Trilochan Singh sir. Thank you, sir, for guiding us. We have mentors, Professor Ved Prakash sir and Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, who are guiding our various events. And myself and Principal sir, Professor Jaswinder Singh, we are the executive heads. I also welcome on behalf of and also welcome my organizing team, Sarita Pasi, Surinder Kaur Walia, Bibu Kumar Sahu, Arun Julka, Sujan Varghese, Anita Garg Mangla, Narendrajit Kaur, Meenakshi Sharma, who are helping us in the face-to-face as well as online event. GAD-TLC has been, it was initiated in July 2016, and the aim of the center is to empower teachers in pedagogy and the technology, but integrating with their subject-specific needs. And now we have diversified into the various other needs, like in the line of NEP, how the policies are formulating, we have to be aware, and then how it can be implemented properly, along with the research methodologies, to name a few. The various events that have taken shape now, we keep on conducting seminars, webinars, workshops, conferences, faculty development programs. Faculty development programs can be of 1 week or 2 weeks, and these are eligible for the CAS requirement only after successful completion with the proper grades. We also have 1 month faculty induction program, which is not only being implemented, but we have designed it, given the input to the Ministry of Education, which is a mandatory entry-level program for every higher education faculty. And many teachers are also involved in development of Teachers E-Kit, which is my own concept, and open educational resources are being generated. And I'm happy to share that more than 85,000 teachers we have touched till date, and the number is increasing day by day. With NPTC, these were the 2 events that we have conducted, and I am happy to share with all of you that GAD-TLC has been selected as one of the 44 out of 100 PMMT centers as Malviya Mission Centers. This will be launched 5th September to conduct NEP trainings for 15 lakh higher education teachers. So everyone, right from the initial stage to the professor level, they have to be aware about NEP and how it can be implemented. And now at this juncture, I will request my worthy principal, sir, Professor Jaswinder Singh, Principal HCTB Khalsa College and Director GAD-TLC, to give the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vimal. Let me begin by welcoming our very, very distinguished guests today. Professor Ved Prakash, the former Chairman, University Grants Commission, who, of course, as Vimal has mentioned, is a mentor for all of us. Sadat Lochan Singh Ji, the former Member of Parliament and Chairman, National Minorities Commission when it was formed. Professor Phil Jones from NTPC Group of Institutions in Wales, and Christopher, my friend who has been helping and who has been, holding joint programs with us for the last almost 1 year. Both of them are from the NTPC Group of Institutions from Wales, the UK. Professor Vimal, who is my colleague in Khalsa College and who is looking after this very important center, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. Professor C.S. Dubey, who has been, in the University Delhi for a very long time and who brought about many changes in how we can run, how we can admit the students. And also, when he was the director of Open Learning, School of Open Learning or the campus of Open Learning, he introduced many innovative methods there. Professor O.P. Kalra, who is the Vice Chancellor of SGT University in the NCR, and we are very proud that he is from the medical profession, and he is not there only the Vice Chancellor, he served in the University of Delhi in the UCMS for a very long time, and also, when the UCMS was in a great crisis during the 90s, Professor Kalra, Professor Deepak Nair, and all those people, they really brought about many changes. Professor Muhammad Mia, who is the who was the Vice Chancellor of Maulana Azad Urdu University, National Urdu University, Hyderabad, and the member University Grants Commission. My friend Nandiji, who has been, of course, a motivating force, not only for me, but many of us in the University of Delhi. And he wants to see that, our institutions, they should be best in terms of providing the skill and other types of education. Gagan Agrawal, who has made this meeting possible, who has made these, kind of collaborations possible, I really express my gratitude to him also. All the participants who are sitting here in this hall, and also many of us, I think around more than 60 are there online. I welcome on behalf of Khalsa College and Guru Angad Dev Teaching and Learning Center to all of you. This seminar, one-day seminar, rather, I must say that 3-hour seminar is very, very important. Professor Ved Prakash knows it very well because it was during his time as UGC chairmanship when the national education policy was sought to be given a new shape, and he took many initiatives before he relinquished his post. And we saw that, our group made many suggestions which were incorporated in the national education policy. We gave as our own group, we also gave as in the capacity of individuals, because we were practicing this and we were facing some difficulties here and there. So, when this concept of skill education and value addition, initially I remember in 2015, when we faced crisis in the university in terms of 4 years undergraduate program, Professor Ved Prakash took this as a challenge and he initiated this process of introducing the skill concepts. And the CBCS, the choice-based credit system, was introduced for the first time. Within 3 years in the University of Delhi, we revised it to LOCF, Learning Outcome-Based Curriculum Framework. And, continuing the same spirit, we brought in many changes. And now the UGCF, after the National Education Policy, University of Delhi is the first university. Perhaps Karnataka State was one which started discussion on that, but University of Delhi, we must take credit for this, that we are the first university to introduce the national education policy in a systematic way. And in the UGCF, which we normally teach here and there, we know that, there are many challenges before the teachers. And to shift from the teacher-centric teaching methodology to the student-centric, in a certain sense, is a cumbersome process. We need to change our mindset. We need to change, the teaching methodology. We need to change the methods through which we can empower the teachers so that they bring about not merely harmony, but in the class, but also, they give a lot of autonomy to the students to learn what they want to learn. So all these features, even though they have been formally introduced in the national education policy in number of steps, they have, emphasized all in all those things. But still, at the national level, I think the curriculum framework, which is a very, very strenuous task, that is still pending. But the University of Delhi has taken this step, and many more universities, for instance, the SGT University has also taken certain steps. I saw their curriculum framework, and they have introduced these concepts. Professor C.S. Dubey, he has taken many steps. I saw his curriculum through their website, and many teachers are attending and joining, and they're part of the trainers also. You'll see in this program, what we want to see is that, can we really, as the national education policy talks about, can we really, learn and associate from the rest of the world? And this is on behalf of Khalsa College. This is the attempt where we want to, as Professor Wimmer very rightly mentioned, that we visited some of the universities. We have been visiting earlier also, but this time we were very serious that we should have some, concrete proposals. It is not that everything that they are teaching or their practice is excellent. I think we need to have a sort of interaction, at various layers, the students, the teachers, the research programs, and this is done comprehensively when we were visiting the NTPC, in Swansea. Professor Phil and Professor Christopher, we told them that this is where we are looking forward. We want to do a kind of joint hand holding for the students and also for the teachers. So it is with this spirit that we thought that we must begin with this topic, the future of teaching, learning, and assessment in higher education. We have designed the courses. We have tried to bring in the best, given the capacity of our institutions. But at the same time, the way we teach is very important. But also, the assessment tools is something which still is lacking. It is lacking in terms of so many things. The continuous, as you have seen this partially in the National Education Policy as has been adopted in University of Delhi, that we have tried to change the assessment patterns of some of the things, but not in entirety. So therefore, let us concentrate today on some of the aspects and see, can we evolve a system where the teachers and the students can be very congenial in the class, and the students, they are empowered in terms of their future dreams. I would stop here because I'm very keen to learn and listen to the academic experts here, led by Professor Ved Prakash. So thank you very much for joining, and I express my gratitude to all the guests, to all the distinguished people who have joined us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and the welcome address. And now I will request Sardar Talochan Singh, sir, Chairman Governing Body, SCTB Khalsa College, also to be blessing us with his words of wisdom.
I am here only to welcome you and thank you, especially the guests from abroad. And actually, we are lucky that Khalsa College, named after Guru Tegh Bahadur, is organizing this function for the good of all of us. After all, education, you see, the Patiala University, when it was founded in 1963, Jot Singh, at that time, the great educationist, was the first chancellor at the age of 85. And then he selected a Shabad from Guru Nanak, Vidya Vichari Tam Paropkar. That is the Dhuni of the university, that education is the most compulsory one should learn. And this altruism, he says that Paropkar, you learn only through education. So that is the essence of the Guru Nanak message, that actually Guru Angad, after whom this is named, for Guru Angad 500 years back, you see, he coined the vocabulary of Punjabi language. You see, a religious head, this vocabulary of Punjabi language was coined by Guru Angad. So that's why this center is named after him, because he was the one who started this. And Professor Ved Prakash has been always kind to everybody, but special to Khalsa College. So we always are pleased whenever he comes. And because the foreign guests are here, you just understand in a line I'm saying, Guru Nanak, our founder, 550 years back, traveled more than 20,000 miles. Now, all vice chancellors are sitting here, that at that time, he goes to Makkah. So he learns Arabic. He goes to Turkey. He goes to Iran, all different countries. He goes to Lanka. He goes to Tibet. So you understand how Guru Nanak learned all those languages. As a traveler, then he, you see, his communication with the people must be in that language. So here is one thing, that learning, one travels and learns, that Guru Nanak showed that path. And that's why even his Shabads are in Arabic, in Persian languages, and others in Guru Granth. So learning, he also said, whenever you go there, you learn. So I'm happy that today all of you are here. So let us hope that this new education policy earlier policy by Shri Bedkar was, now Government of India is very keen, and now we are host to G20. India is proud to be host of all the foreign nations coming here. So let us hope this seminar will be helpful to you and through you to all others. Again, I welcome all of you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. And definitely, we are blessed that the center has been named in the honor of Guru Angad Dev Ji. And with the blessings, I think this center is really taking newer and newer heights, and also by the support of entire governing body at Khalsa College and at GAD-TLC. This seminar is going to introspect on how the teaching, learning, and assessment in higher education is changing. And that's why the future. But I will say, if you look back the pre-corona time and now, the future is here. So rather than just saying that this is required, I think we all have to be now putting efforts, get into action. And all speakers will be deliberating on different themes, which will be required, that how we can prepare ourselves to start implementing. And the future pedagogies, the tools, the techniques, the value education, the Indian knowledge system, all these requirements, they have been beautifully put up in NEP 2020 as well from Indian context. But we'll also like to know that what are the policies which are being changed in UK, especially when we went there on further education and the skill part, which is also being emphasized here. We will be looking into that aspect as well. And now at this juncture, I will request our Honorable Chief Guest to give the keynote address. And I will request Professor Ved Prakash, sir, former Chairman UGC, to please give the address.
Most respected Sardar Trilochan Singh Ji, former member of the Parliament, former chairman of the Minority Commission, and the chairman of the governing board of Khalsa College, University of Delhi. Our esteemed foreign colleagues, Professor Phil Jones, teaching and learning manager from NPTC Group of Colleges, Wales. Most esteemed Professor Christopher Manley from NPTC College of Group of Colleges. Mr. Gagan Agrawal, who happens to be the member of the team. My esteemed colleague, Professor Jaswinder Singh, principal of Khalsa College. My very valued friend and colleague, Professor O.P. Kalra, Vice Chancellor of SGT University. Professor Mohammad Mia, former Vice Chancellor of Maulana Azad National University. Professor C.S. Dubey, Vice Chancellor of Kumar Mangalam University. Esteemed members of the faculty from the Khalsa College and other institutions, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a matter of great privilege and a very special honor for me to be with you this morning. I would like to share with Sardar Trilochan Singh Ji that we get inspired, sir, in your presence. And it is primarily because of your leadership and the hard work and commitment of Professor Jaswinder Singh and Professor Bimal Rar and Professor Bakshi that this center has got recognition not only at the national level, but at the international level. And it's indeed a commendable job that the center has touched about 80,000 teachers across the states. Insofar as Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching is concerned. They have asked me to deliver a keynote address. And the purpose of the keynote speaker is to reflect on the issues, introduce the topic of the seminar. Education is a subject that has continued to evolve and extended its reach and coverage since the dawn of humanity in this world. And in education, it is the higher education which is extremely critical for social, economic, and technological advancement, and which is why the future of higher education is of paramount significance in every sense of the word. It is the higher education that provides us with critical tools to understand the social dynamics, which help us in designing interventions to ensure equity and take steps towards creating a better society. And again, it is the higher education which develops and promotes technology, which permeates in all dimensions of human development. It is unfortunate, though, that the development of higher education widely varies across the nation states. In most economies, and particularly in developing economies, higher education is facing multiple crises: crisis of leadership, excuse me, crisis of identity, crisis of governance, and crisis of resources. The most pertinent crisis amongst them is the crisis of quality, especially in the developing economies, wherein the emphasis is more on massification of higher education. And though there is a growing concern about quality management in higher education, there are very few countries in this world that have been able to nurture access and equity with quality. Some governments have set up agencies for quality assessment at the federal as well as at the provincial level. And both mandatory and voluntary type of assessments and accreditation systems can be seen across the globe. There are various kinds of practices like subject assessment, academic audit, institutional accreditation, program accreditation, national and international rankings, etc., that are currently in vogue. Some of these practices that are currently in use are quite comprehensive. Basically, all of them aim at improving the academic standards, narrowing down the disparities which exist across the institutions, across the universities, and across the departments. But in certain cases, quality reaches such a sorry pass that it requires replacement of traditional approach with more collaborative approach. And that is what this Khalsa College has ensured by way of collaborating with the NPTC colleges of the Great Britain. And since quality is a question of degree, universities must do serious rethinking about quality. While we have evolved some systems of quality assurance, but a lot more needs to be done on classroom processes, which remain a principal concern of quality. We might be focusing on creating outstanding infrastructure. We might be focusing on hiring the best teachers and the best students. But insofar as classroom processes is concerned, I think we need to pay greater emphasis on that, because people are asking insightful questions about curricular provisions, which we are offering, faculty, students, and community in terms of futuristic orientation, lifelong learning. Questions are raised about the employability of the graduates, which we have been churning out from different campuses, global citizenship, leadership, and teamwork, and for which we have very weak answers. Basically, these questions require rethinking about quality in higher education. Rethinking is also required about weeding out obsolescence in curricular provisions, switching over to innovative modes of delivery and innovative methods of assessment. Rethinking is also required as to how teachers can bring about the innate qualities of thoughts and practices. And quality being a construct, social construct, meaning thereby that it is a moving target, it would continue to be a major challenge of the societies and therefore rethinking of higher education would always remain a major challenge. Today, when we have all assembled here to deliberate about the future of higher education, the primary aim of this is because higher education is extremely important for the progress of the humanity in general and nation states in particular. And we all know that no human pursuits have ever made any material progress until higher education was brought to bear upon them. We must not be complacent with our minuscule progress here and there. We must consistently test the limits of our knowledge. Universities must ask questions where the answers are not known. Traditional methods of teaching and learning must be continually revisited because the world is under perennial transformation. Universities must continually search for more efficient and effective modes of deliveries. There are some newer trends which are gaining momentum in higher education across the globe, and I think we must take cognizance of those newer models which are emerging. Otherwise, we would be left behind. Universities, one of the models which is emerging very fast is that we are talking about the universities without walls. I mean, it is a new model which is emerging. Facilitation of learning with an emphasis on individualized instruction is gaining momentum. And if the focus is going on individualized instruction, then it requires a lot more to change insofar as pedagogical processes are concerned, pedagogical aids are concerned, and assessment methods are concerned. And this is because of that this topic was chosen by the center that we are going to talk about the future of higher education. There is a growing popularity of learning by anyone from anywhere. And now there is an emphasis on a replacement of conventional methods of teaching and learning with hybrid and flipped classroom mode of teaching and learning through an increased use of multimedia system of learning and resource material. We need people like Arun Julka, we need people like Professor Vimal who have transited themselves from the conventional mode into the ICT mode. And we need to learn a great deal because in our generation, we were not technology savvy, but now we find that we are continually, caught by the technological advancements. And in order to ensure our relevance in the teaching and learning, I think we need to upskill and reskill on continuous basis. Continuous faculty development has been taking a center stage now. We find that there is a growing diversity both in terms of students and faculty across the campuses. There is also a gradual increase in number of non-traditional students who are coming on the campuses. And with the implementation of the national education policy, with the multiple exit and multiple entry provisions, now it will provide, it is going to be a threat for all of us who are in this profession, because we'll have to revisit the existing curricular provision from the point of view that those who are exiting after 1 year with a certificate program, those who are exiting after 2 years with a diploma program, and those who are exiting after 3 years with a bachelor's program, how are we going to ensure that those who leave, they get the terminal competencies and skills which would be required for them to enter into the world of work. And at the same time, we will also have the responsibility of ensuring that those who are transiting from 1 year to the 2nd year, or from 2nd year to the 3rd year, how are we going to equip them with the prerequisites which would be required to pursue higher education? This is a very huge challenge for all the academicians. There is an increased collaboration between content specialists and instructional and media consultants, especially in regard to curricular reforms in the Western world. But we are not taking proper cognizance of these kinds of developments, and which is a matter of great concern for us. Together with all this, there is a weakening trend of humanities and social sciences. We are according too much of significance to the use of information and communication technology. We are always talking about the programs which are connected with the world of work, and we are neglecting the disciplines which are extremely critical, which are extremely necessary, like language, humanities, and social sciences. So this is also a matter of great concern for us. The newer institutions are following a mad race of offering programs either in the areas of engineering and allied disciplines or medicine and allied disciplines. And they are not focusing equally on the development of languages and humanities and social sciences. One of the topics of today's conference is also about the assessment. Assessment, we all know, is an integral part of teaching and learning, which demonstrates an individual's ability to apply knowledge rather than just a measure of knowledge at a given time. We have not been able to come up with the tools through which we can certify an individual who completes 4-year program with us or 3-year program with us. We cannot say it with certainty that the candidate knows A, B, C, and D, and that the candidate understands E, F, and G, and that the candidate would be able to perform X, Y, and Z. That kind of certification we have not been able to provide until this day. I think we need to make appropriate changes in the assessment methodologies, assessment tools, assessment criteria for the purposes of capturing the real potential of the individual learner. Widespread and systematic use of student evaluation using multiple sources, multiple criteria, and multiple techniques is also emerging as a new trend. The trends towards flexible delivery, engaging assessment, automation, and a candidate-centric focus are pushing universities to move to a model where assessments are far more effective and where the candidate experience is both positive and engaging. Universities are expected to lay greater emphasis on both formative and summative evaluation, and interestingly at the same time. Because for us, it is extremely necessary to know what are the hard sports of learning. What are the hard sports of learning for the common sense learners? What are the hard sports of learning for the dynamic learners? What are the hard sports of learning for the analytic learners? And do we have the capacity to address those differences that we observe amongst different kinds of learners? Assessment is expected to fulfill all the functions of formative evaluation, leading to immediate feedback, knowledge of results, diagnosis, and remediation. Universities are gradually moving away from conventional examination hall system to live remote testing using online proctoring, which brings us to another big change in the world of assessment. Another key trend has been the move towards the creation of much more engaging and effective assessment. Universities no longer have to use only simple one-dimensional multiple choice type or essay type questions. There are a whole lot of questions which can measure the cognitive operations of the learners at a higher level. But the challenge before us as teachers is how are we going to design the questions which require cognitive operation either at analysis level or synthesis level or at application level. There are disciplines wherein we find extremely difficult to raise the level of question beyond recognition, recall, or identification. We find it very hard to establish relationship. So this is yet another challenge before us. Multimedia options allow the use of videos, photographs, audios. I was looking into the questions designed by the State Board of School Education and the Central Board of School Education recently. And what I find, unlike in the past, that they are using pictures, they are using charts and graphs, and then they are trying to raise the level of questions. I think in the university sector also, we need to make use of these multiple techniques insofar as the assessment is concerned. I also came across with a model which is emerging in the field of assessment that is called the LOFT model. which stands for Linear On-the-Fly Testing Program. With this LOFT model, universities can set up question banks where each question can be associated with different tags. What is the concept that the question is measuring? What is the objective that the question is measuring? What would be the facility value of this question? How this question is going to discriminate between the high achievers and average achievers and low achievers? I mean, this method enables us to tag individual question with these different kinds of characteristics. The big positive of this LOFT model is that papers are generated automatically. So once the question bank has been set up, it is just a case of maintaining it as opposed to having to continually generate new examination papers. Research is also, equally important. I would like to reflect in brief on that. We all know that universities have the dual responsibility to serve the local needs on the one hand, and to address global concerns on the other, and to create new knowledge. If the university is only transmitting the knowledge created elsewhere and certifying that knowledge, then the university is not fulfilling its responsibility. One can say that it is entirely appropriate for most universities and most academics to remain focused mainly on teaching and applied service to society and the economy. That is also equally important. But we know that we have very few universities today in our country. For the benefit of my foreign friends, I would like to share with them that we are the largest system of higher education in terms of the number of institutions. We have about 1,113 degree awarding institutions of different kinds. Some we call institutions of national importance, some we call central universities, some we call institutions deemed to be universities, some we call state private universities and state universities. And apart from these 1,113 universities, degree awarding institutions, we also have about 43,000 colleges offering undergraduate and postgraduate programs. It is such a gigantic system. We must be very proud of it. But we have very fewer institutions which are research intensive institutions of higher learning. We need many more like Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. We need many more like Central University of Hyderabad. We need many more like Jawaharlal Nehru University insofar as the number of quality institutions is concerned. And modern societies need more and more research intensive universities because they are very, very crucial to the future of the society. But that capacity can be developed only through long-term increased funding from the government. If you look at the research intensive universities at the international level, you will find that most of the research intensive universities are publicly funded institutions of higher learning. There are very few private research intensive universities in the world. And there is a very obvious reason behind that. But the developing economies are finding it extremely hard to promote research capacities of their universities because of the paucity of resources and because of the continuous flow of funds. But one can now find noticeable change in research unlike in the past. There is an emergence of modern disciplines. And with that, now there is a continued focus on interdisciplinary teaching and research, as new knowledge lies at the intersections of different disciplines today. If you look, if you see the record of the Nobel laureates of the past 10 years or 15 years, you will find that those who have received the Nobel Prizes come from the interdisciplinary domain of knowledge. And this is lately recognized, though, that the new knowledge lies at intersections of different disciplines. And this is what is required today. But one also finds a disturbing trend as most of the universities are generally neglecting research, again, I would say in humanities and social sciences. SOAS in London is one of the most premier institutions, but it has never figured in any global ranking thus far. Because it is in humanities and social sciences, very outstanding institutions in the world. I mean, world-class universities are only a small minority. US has the largest number of research-intensive universities, about 300 of them. And if you look into 2023 global ranking, you would find that amongst the top 10 universities of the world, 7 come from the United States of America and 3 come from Great Britain. I mean, we also have some Chinese universities which are coming up, but amongst the first 100 universities in the global ranking, 34 come only from the United States of America. Now, the recent trends in higher education are forcing universities to make structural changes, programmatic changes, and pedagogical changes. And this is what is expected in the national education policy that we have brought about. And we have made certain programmatic changes, for instance, switching over from 3-year undergraduate program to a 4-year undergraduate program, then having a 2-year master's program, but at the same time, and initiating a 1-year master's program. These changes, these structural changes and programmatic changes are forcing universities to give a different orientation to their research program. Universities are expected to provide more options and greater flexibility in terms of curricular provisions and modes of delivery. Under the circumstances, universities will have to continually change in the changing landscape of the times. By far, the best hopes in the universities, is in the universities because they are the organizations which take to the society to the next stage of development. And let me also share with you that if you look into the history of any organization of the world, you will find that universities are the most enduring organizations in the history of the entire world. I mean, I do not want to go back to the ancient time, but if you see the first university, which was established in 1080 in Italy, that is the University of Bologna. And later on, I mean, we established universities in other parts of Europe. By the end of 15th century, we had only 50 universities in this world, and all of them were in Europe. And that 11th century model of European universities then subsequently spread all over the world. I'll close my address by highlighting 3 major challenges that we have been facing actually. And these are the challenges that have barely been addressed thus far by most of the universities, especially in the developing economies. Number 1 is how far universities have been able to align their programs with the world of work. This is one major challenge, because we would continually be cornered by the power, whether we are churning out children who can fulfill the needs of the modern world. The second biggest challenge is to what extent have universities been successful in creating new knowledge in different areas, keeping with the tradition. This is the second challenge. Most of the universities fall in the category of learning system, not in the category of knowledge system, because they are not creating new knowledge. And the third question is, to what degree have universities given a futuristic orientation to their curricular provisions to keep pace with the changing times? I mean, there are universities in this world which are working very hard to creating infrastructure which would be required for having driverless cars on the streets of the cities. I mean, there are groups I have seen in the Western world. There are groups which are developing and designing the curriculum that would be required according to them in 10 years from hence, or 15 years from hence, or 25 years from hence. And I was interacting with one of the groups recently, and I said, how are you going to make the predictions? We do not know what will be the shape of the world in 15 years from hence or 10 years from hence. They said that if we are able to fulfill 15% of the requirements of that world, we would be very satisfied. And they also know that the kind of predictions that they are making, the kind of services that would be required, the kind of skills that would be required in 20 years and 25 years from hence, they are making predictions. And they said that they would be very happy if they are able to achieve 15% or 20% of them. These are, I mean, these three challenges that I have raised, these are tough empirical questions that cannot be answered without research-based evidences. They are nevertheless the most pertinent questions that would continue to haunt the university system if they are continually ignored. The time has come when these long-standing challenges need to be addressed by such approaches that are culturally appropriate, ethically correct, and financially viable. No single approach can be possible, can possibly be sufficient in as diverse a system as ours. Therefore, we may consider adopting a three-dimensional approach. I'm putting this suggestion before you for your kind consideration. I do not know, I myself do not know how far it is going to be pragmatic, but we may consider this we may consider adopting a three-dimensional approach, which to begin with can be tried in select few universities, which are having larger faculty, large number of students, greater resources. And if we find this successful, then it can subsequently be tried out in other institutions. The specifics of the suggested approach would require 3 competent groups in each department operating in tandem. And I'm visualizing a bigger department. I'm not visualizing a department wherein we have only 2 teachers or 3 teachers. I'm visualizing a department wherein we have at least 15 teachers teaching the same discipline. The first group, I'm suggesting 3 groups. The first group should constantly remain in touch with the market and keep aligning their programs in close collaboration with the business leaders. Such programs should have a strong component of hands-on training, which may be arranged under the supervision of designated staff members of the related field. It will help universities prepare an industry-ready workforce, which will benefit industry, cut down investment that they have to incur in organizing on-the-job training for newcomers. It should, however, not mean giving universities a complete business or customer orientation, nor should it mean to leave them at the mercy of the market forces, because universities are primarily meant for the advancement of knowledge and not for financial gains. The second group should have a strong commitment to real-life cognitive scientific research programs in different domains of knowledge, with its implicit philosophical supposition that lead to tangible outcomes in the form of new knowledge, since it is one of the inevitabilities in higher education. The task of this group, though arduous, must be accorded top priority, because that alone reveals the truth and leads to discovery, invention, and innovation. Besides freeing humans from the shackles of ignorance, it basically amounts to consistently testing the limits of the knowledge. And the third group should give a futuristic orientation to the programs of the university. It should constantly design programs which, on the one hand, should create infrastructure and workforce to meet the future requirements of the society, and on the other, save humanity from both man-made and natural catastrophes. Such programs should prepare a workforce which can find solutions for future problems like urban transportation, potable water, food security and safety, green energy, community health, superfast means of communication, etc. This would, of course, require resource allocation, strategic planning, focused attention, talented and committed faculty, and a good student to faculty ratio to enable teachers to dedicate more time to research. This is what is missing in most institutions, and which is why their desire to compete with the best in the world remains a mere mirage under the prevailing circumstances. The changing requirement of the global economy need a rethinking of the quality of higher education and a policy shift, moving from a haphazard policy to a more reasoned one, commensurate with the scale of context-specific intervention. This is the suggestion that I wanted to put before you for your kind consideration. Before I close, linked with this, I would like to share the quote of Marie Curie. Marie Curie is the scientist who happens to be the only person until this day who has got 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different domains of knowledge, one in physics and another in chemistry. And for your kind information, her family got 5 Nobel Prizes. She got 2, her daughter Irwin got 1, and her daughter, her son-in-law also got 1, and husband also got. So 5 Nobel Prizes in one family. When she went to receive the 2nd Nobel Prize, in her acceptance speech, she said, and I quote, "Nothing is to be feared in life. It is only to be understood. And now is the time to learn more so that we can fear less." Unquote. With this word, I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to Honorable Chairman Sardar Trilochan Singh Ji, Professor Jaswinder Singh Ji, Professor Vimal, for having given me this opportunity to be with you this morning. Thank you very much.
All good, right?
Thank you so much, sir. You really highlighted upon all the areas which I think as teachers, where many colleagues are here, that the 2 important roles we have, the dissemination of information and the creation, and how we have to be really doing this in line with the industry requirement. Because ultimately, why are we looking into these changes? Because our students, they have to be groomed in a holistic manner, not only to be made competent professional, but also, I will say, good citizen of a country and overall a good human being. So all these have to go hand in hand. And that's where we are talking about, yes, with the advent of technology coming into and how we can empower ourselves. It's not about replacing. I personally don't agree that the AI and the chatbot will come and replace us. No, we will be overcoming that. But then as teachers, we have to be understanding how this technology has to be used inside our classroom, and our students have to be guided in positive way. Otherwise, they can be, it's like a double-edged sword. You can use it in a positive as well as negative manner. And with these words now, I will request Professor Christopher Manley from NPTC Group of Colleges, who is expert in gamification, and he has a wonderful lab, is from computer science background, and how these tools can be used inside our classroom. And then we'll also have Phil, who will be, we have just switched the things where AI tools and what Professor Vedprakash sir mentioned, that we have to learn creating good questions, but then how technology can help us in that. So we will be having all those. So over to you, Chris. Welcome. Yeah. You want to share?
Yes.
Yeah. Is this? This one?
Okay, thank you ever so much to Professor Prakash. What a wonderful speech. Yes, you obviously put everything into perspective, and it's certainly the kind of line of work that I'm in as well, into education. So just going to give you a little bit of an introduction to myself first, and I'd like to ask at this point, can you understand me? I may speak a little bit quick, okay, so can you understand my accent? Yes, fantastic, thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Christopher Manley. People call me Chris. I'm a senior lecturer for international operations at MPTC group of institutions, or in the group of colleges. And my role is regarding arranging this with Professor Vimal and getting things like this working worldwide. So who we are is MPTC itself, so it's Neath Talbot College Group. And we are based in our Neath campus. We've also got a number of other campuses, which I'll show you shortly. But we've also got 3 other things in England. So we've got Portsmouth, we've got a campus in Swindon and a campus in London. And what this means to you at this stage is that we do a lot of different things across the different curriculum areas, meaning we don't just teach computing, which is my background, we teach a lot of different things, okay? So as I said, computing is my background, so maybe you're into computing yourself, or you're cybersecurity, or maybe in where we went yesterday into the Khalsa College, you're in biometrics and the kind of chemistry thing which Phil is interested in. So a lot of the things that I do are computer based, but because of where I've stepped into and because of the sort of global capacity that the college is working in, we do a lot of different things outside of our speciality. So now it's about education. So the campuses that we have, so we've got our Neath campus, which is where I'm based, and we've got a Swansea Construction Centre, that is Avon College, which has got things like health and social care. We've got a campus in Newtown, we've got Llandud Nod Wells, Brecon Beacons, Pontardawe, and we've also got the Maesteg construction site. So in terms of where the college is, we've covered about 30% of the landmass in terms of bringing in students. So we've not just situated in one particular college, one particular location, we serve a lot of Wales. And if you look at the different curriculum areas that we do work in, which I'll come on to shortly, we've got 10 different schools. Then you can see that, where the kind of leadership comes under from Phil. He's the teaching and learning manager. He brings towards us everything that we need to know in order to get our success rates where they are. So what we've got, we've got this LSI Portsmouth. So this is a language school, and it's actually the #1 in the UK. So we deliver sort of English language lessons to people coming from abroad. Maybe they're asylum seekers, or people just want to learn English. They are not, English isn't that very good. So they come to this LSI Portsmouth and they're able to build those skills up. And like I said, we are the #1 in the country. Okay, so the manager for LSI Portsmouth, he's coming out, I think, in November. So hopefully you'll get to meet him as well. We've got the Llandarcy Park. So we've got sports and public services. So there's a lot of different things going on in terms of policing, as well as other kind of interactions with the sports science kind of part of our point of view. We've also got then the Pavilion Restaurant. So we teach our students how to cook, how to serve, hospitality. So, it's not just about one particular thing, and we try and build up the students. So if you think of the students that you have in your institutions, where do they come from? What is their background? But more importantly, what is their interest? So that's why we kind of try and cater for all different types of things. So, they don't just come to us for one thing. They may even start their course and decide that it's not for them. So they move on to something else. But the fact is, we can still deliver all of those things. And we've just been awarded, I had notification, I think it was yesterday, that in Wales, we are now the #1 in terms of voting for student satisfaction. which just means then that it goes to show how dedicated and how professional and how brilliant we are with those students. So we're just going to go through a couple of these because I don't think I can do everything at the same time. So if you look at now the Needham Arts Centre, so if anybody here is interested in creative and visual performing arts, we've got our own theatre. We put on productions. We've even got a cinema there as well. So we can do all of these things and show the students to build up their skills, the things that they're interested in. So as I mentioned, we've covered 30% of the landmass of Wales. We've got approximately around 225,000 students across those 9 campuses. Our turnover is about 65 million. So this is to do with staffing. This is bringing in examining board finances and everything else, including the international operations, which I'm involved with myself. We've got approximately 1,500 staff. So this means teaching staff. This is academic staff. This is also administrative staff. There's also then going further up, and we've got the management staff as well, which Phil is one of. We've got 7 subsidiary companies as well. Some of those I've just mentioned with regards to the LSI Portsmouth. So if you look at our history, so we kind of started in 1843. So we're a very, very old institution. And as things went on, we kind of opened up the Neath Mining and Technical Institute. So if anybody knows Wales, so if I just go back, this is Wales itself. You'll know that Wales has always been a mining country. We've got a lot of coal in Wales, and there still is a lot of coal in Wales. So it became all of the institutions that are around the area meant that we would be teaching our population how to do that mining operations. Okay, so this is again looking for those skill sets and how things are going to work. Then in 1949, we were recognised as a technical college, and in 1982, that's when Neath College was formed. So around about that time, so 1982 to 1985, that's when it started to become more education-based and rather than practical. Okay, so the vocation. But then we kind of moved back into that vocation then as well later on. So Port Talbot Tertiary College was established in 1985. And in 1999, we were merged Neath College with Neath Port Talbot College, with Port Talbot College to become NPTC, Neath Port Talbot College. And then we further then merged with Coleg Powys, and that's when we started to grow. So we started off with a small idea, okay, the Mechanics Institute with maybe 6 or 7 members of staff, and now we've got 1,500 or 1,500 members of staff, and we're all working for education, for the betterment of our population, as well as, as with regards to international, any other communications that we can do as well. So should we play this? Just going to show you now. There's no audio of if the audio is being moved, which is good because it's usually playing. But this shows you a little bit of what the students do. Welding, the welding is required. There's chemistry, so we would be quite excited at the thought of this. Okay, as our so how to cook, how to clean, and everything, and so that they can progress into those areas either in Wales or further afield. So we've also got horticulture. We just want to, move into things, but it all means that, and if they've chosen the career path and they've started, they can then come and do these like evening and things that they can do which is a bit more for them. Maybe they've found that the jobs they're looking for, so then they go up in things that they can. We've got mechanical, which also now includes new vehicles. Earlier on here is the sports. A lot of different things where even members of the frames and use different things that we've got, so that it allows the community to be more aware of what we do. Okay, so we don't just say show placards and say come to us. We'll show in the students. Okay, well if you come here, this is the kind of thing you'll be doing, and that encourages them more, which is why we get such a good reputation. Okay. So coming back to what I mentioned earlier, okay, we have got 10 schools. So we've got the building engineering services, professional services, which includes hairdressing and the hospitality, catering, hospitality and agriculture. We've got creative and digital industries. So this is now a new merger between the computing department and the creative visual performance department. So they've become one because we're working very similar together. We've also got construction and the built environment. We've got engineering and automotive, foundation, health, social and childcare, our sixth form academy, which is to do with our A levels. So if you think of where the students start off with in UK, they're known as GCSEs. So by the age of 16, they've finished their compulsory education, and then they'll either go down the vocational route, which is, for instance, like welding, that type of thing, actually using practical skills, or they might go down the academic route, which would be our A levels. So they choose possibly three up, well, change up to 4 A levels, but it allows them then to go back down that academic route rather than the practical vocational route. And as I mentioned, we've also got the sports and public services school. So we've also got a number of partnerships. So this means now that as an institution, we don't just focus entirely on the operations that we do within what we could got within our skill sets. We've also set up the partnerships that allow us to get communications with the Welsh Government with regards to apprenticeships. So there's also the Skills Academy Wales, and that's then comprising 16 training providers that provide those wide range of apprenticeships. So apprenticeships to us mean that the students will then go out into industry and they'll actually come back to the college for maybe 1 day a week to upskill or to learn something about what they're going to be doing in a practical activity. So, you know, for us, it means that, you know, they're working at the same time as studying. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's a kind of a model that you've got here in India, but for us, it's a very lucrative idea, because it's not just training people so that they're ready to start, they're actually learning on the job. And that's usually like a better way for us to do, because this is coming back to sort of what Professor Vimal mentioned earlier and Professor Prakash about the experiential learning. So they're actually getting involved in the situation as they're doing it. So the Skills Academy Wales is one of the largest partnerships in Wales, and covering and delivering over about £20 million worth of apprenticeships this year. And pre-pandemic, Skills Academy Wales was ranked the top performing apprenticeship provider in Wales for 4 consecutive years. So this literally just means that our partnerships then are very closely worked with us. We try and do as much as we can for those institutions and get things back. So it's always then, you know, put the students first, always put the students first. Okay, so this comes to our paradigm or our interest then with regards to Phil in, if the students come first, the students should be controlling their own learning so that we become partners in that learning. So we've also got some world leading affiliations. We've got affiliations with Ford. We've got KUKA, who are the robotics center based in Birmingham. I've been there myself to actually study robotics and learn, you know, how to operate robots. There's also then Tata Motors. We've got links with Tata Steel as well, which isn't mentioned here. We've also got this World Skills. Now, World Skills, if anybody's familiar, is like a competitive element, and it's where we train our students up to get things like cybersecurity, or maybe developing things like Internet of Things, or even just like simple word skills. But it means they compete against other colleges, and we win quite a number of medals. And this year we've won both gold and silver in inclusive skills, meaning it's for, thank you, it's just for maybe students that haven't done so well in school. So it's a really good drive for them. Okay, thank you. We've also got then different sort of honours and achievements. So we're award-winning teachers. So we're in the UK, we're the #1 for teaching and providing in Wales. Also #3 for the learning experience. So it just goes to show how much we put the students first. Okay, how much we give to the students, how good we are with the students. And for us, it's about the rapport. Okay, so that's a really interesting concept that I've come across myself, you know, in different countries that I've kind of worked in, is to build up a rapport with the students, tell the students as much as we can in professional capacity, so then they come back and then they start becoming a bit more engaged. Okay. In regards to the training provider in the UK, so we're number 5 for providing personal support, and number 10 for assessments and feedback. So it just goes to show our accolade and what we do is excellent. Is literally you wouldn't be able to get such an amazing spread of top 10 items in colleges in the UK. Our results are also excellent. So 20% of our students for the A level then get A star to A, and 46.3% of the sixth form academy will get A star to B. Okay, so the students come in, they enjoy what they do, and once they've completed their courses, they may stay with us to complete their degrees, or they could even go to Oxford, Cambridge, some go to Swansea, and where they are in their learning, they'll then start taking place and move further on with their career paths. So it just shows that what we do is excellent, and we do as best as we can, and we're always using things like, again, we come back to Phil and Phil's direction for teaching and learning, so that all staff across the college will all have the same abilities, same skill sets to deliver that excellence to our students. So now we come on to the gamification. Okay, so a bit of a shift here. So I've told you a little bit about the college, which gives you a bit of an idea as to what we do and what I do. Okay, so my role is about academic delivery. But as well as that, I'm a computing lecturer, a lot of different subjects, all degree based. They're all level 5, 6, 4, 5, and 6, and also some postgraduate as well. So what we've got is in practice, we use these different features then to enhance teaching and learning. So if you've done any delivery online, I mean, during the pandemic, everything was just moved to online facilities. So we used things like Teams. We used, I think at the beginning, we used Discord. Some people use Zoom, okay, which I believe this has been streamed at the moment. And from that position, it was, okay, we had to again try and move things as quick as we could and understand the students' perspective so that they get interested in their learning as if it was on a face-to-face basis. We use applications such as Padlet, questionnaires. We put together quizzes. There's also chat functions and emojis. So, it's almost like we're communicating with the students in their own language. So those emojis, those little things, will encourage them to become a little bit more embraced, a bit more engaged in what they do. And we also use these interactive features. So this could be collaborative learning, collaborative work. They've got a document that they all work on at the same time. Okay, and then that becomes more encouraging. So even though they're on separate campuses or separate locations, then it just does mean that, they're all working at the same time, and it's quite a vibrant atmosphere to be in. I know one of the things that we discussed yesterday when we went to Khalsa College is possibly getting an India and a NEEF, group work. I mean, that's such an amazing idea. It's such an excellent concept because, we're all working at the same time. And one of the things that I discussed yesterday was about the Digital Skills 2030 plan. And one of the suggestions from the organization was all colleges should work together. Rather than me learning something and then me keeping that information, we share it with everyone. And this is not limited to NEEF at all, but this is other colleges in Wales, other colleges in the UK, other colleges in the world, including your good selves. So everything we learned, we can bring back to you. Okay, so as we say, we've got this excellent standpoint. Other people are learning from us, we learn from other people, and everybody's moving along. So this then comes back down to our last point here, which is immersive technology. So we use gaming and we use simulation. So some of the things we've got interested in now is virtual reality. So we've got AI, which Phil will explain to you about, but there's also, we are using now virtual reality in our learning. So there's an immersive element. So, one of the discussions again yesterday that we looked at was regards to communicative and language learning. Well, we are now experimenting with virtual reality so that we can immerse the students in an environment where they themselves would be communicating with somebody. So it's almost like placing that person into that country and saying, try out your languages. It's an amazing idea. So gamification. So what is gamification? So this is the application of game design elements to a non-game context in order to engage users and motivate them to take action. So motivation. Now there's your keyword there. So if I was teaching right now, I'd be writing on the board motivation. okay? Because it's where the students need to be. They need to be motivated and driven and ideas so that they themselves move forward with their own ideas, their concepts. Self-directed learners is what we look for. The students are given enough information and enough confidence and enough motivation so that they themselves will go away from the classroom environment and either learn the material that we've given them, or they'll go off and find information for themselves. So they don't stay stagnant and wait for us to give them the next bit. Okay, and this is an exceptionally brilliant idea that, you know, that the students themselves take control. So once they take control, the world is their oyster. So they can make all of the decisions based on the learning that they want. You know, how we interact with each other as adults, we know this. It's then trying to encourage the students to do this for themselves. If you've come across maybe a computer system you don't know how to use, you will go out, you will try and find the solution. You will look on maybe YouTube or Google to say, well, I don't know how to do that. But sometimes the students haven't really yet developed that ability. So that's self-directed learning. So we encourage that as much as possible. And it's not difficult. It's just the right rapport with the students to engage with them. So it's used then in a variety of applications and has been gaining popularity, an effective tool for teaching and learning. And the reason why it's been sort of gaining popularity is, like I said, you know, what the kind of the benefits of this new kind of paradigm, this new education method means that once they've sort of taken control of their learning, what is to stop them doing anything that they want? They, you know, we've spoken to students that have, you know, become programmers where they maybe need a little bit of support and they're now earning more than we earn. Okay, so they're doing exceptionally well. And all that comes from encouragement, showing that the things that we do, this is how things would work in industry. And we've got a lot of different ways to approach with that. So where this comes to now in teaching is the gamification can be used to enhance, which I mentioned earlier, and the teaching and learning in a variety of different ways, such as introducing those game-like elements into the classroom. So this could be maybe choosing Gagan and saying, you know, I'll give you a gold star if you complete this on time or on target. Okay, but sometimes the reward system is beneficial, sometimes it doesn't work so well, but it's about understanding the student. Okay, because sometimes if the students compete against each other, some just simply do not like it. There's an introverted and extroverted approach. But the idea, behind it is we can still find ways to put that gamification. And I'll talk to you a little bit about esports in a short while. So we can use those points and rewards to motivate them, provide feedback in real time. So if the student gets something that's not necessarily, you know, what they're looking for, then they get instant feedback so that they correct their behavior, they reflect, they understand what they've started on isn't exactly where they're going to end up on. So it's also going to use collaborative learning, which I mentioned, and create engaging and interactive experiences and encourage exploration. So now we come on to some examples of gamification. So first of all, we got this application, there's a website. So some of you may already know this, and it's a classroom environment. So if we could get this working, what I would do is I would set up a Kahoot quiz. I would then run it on the main board and everybody would be accessing it on their mobile phones. Okay, and I know that was one of the questions yesterday we had is if students use mobile phones in classroom, how do we stop them? Well, we stop them by giving them something else to do with their mobile phones. And if we use the Kahoot quiz, what they'll do is they'll answer the questions as quickly as they can, and their name will appear on the board if they come first, if they come last. So then it starts to encourage them a little bit. So they stop looking and chatting to each other. They think, like, hey, I've got to get this. You know, it becomes such an embracing, encouraging, and vibrant motivation that they start thinking, oh, I don't want to be behind on this, so I don't want to be in front. Okay, and it's remarkable to see. And I've seen grown-ups do the same thing as well. Okay, I've seen members of staff say, oh, I'm not going to be involved in this quiz, and suddenly when the chips are down, people start pulling forward and actually start answering these questions as quickly as possible, because it's, you know, it's just that nature of, we've got that competitive nature that we just like to get involved. So here now is one of the questions. So I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with Star Wars. So which Jedi Master said the greatest teacher failure is? So does anybody know the answer to this question? Out of those. Say who said Yoda? Well done for speaking up. Can we give a round of applause, please? Excellent, fantastic. Yes, so we probably all knew the answer. We say who's going to answer first. What you do is, rather than speaking out, because that's what this kind of reduces, is because if you say to a class hands up, people will know the answer, but they won't do hands up. But with something like this, they're engaging on their phones, so they don't have to get involved in that verbal communication between you and and them. They don't have to everybody look around and everybody do a round of applause like we just did. It's then about the student, okay, still being a little bit introverted, but answering the question as quickly as they can because they know the answer. Yeah, it's perfect. So that's Kahoot. And we, in terms of what we're going to be doing with Professor Vimal, we can show you examples of how to use Kahoot. We do it across the college, again, under Phil's leadership. Okay, I'm sure some of you have heard of Duolingo. Okay, so this is like an application which is used for language learning. And the way that this kind of works is you learn words, and it does by a process of replication. So it'll do something, and then it'll kind of remind you then the day after. So this screenshot is actually from Phil's wife, because she's been learning Welsh.
My wife is learning Welsh.
Welsh, yeah.
And she's on 912 days streak. So what has happened is she is motivated by the actual to learn the language, and every day she is on it. So this is she's not a typical, you would not think she's a competitive person, but this has actually driven her to do it every single day. So
and does it like 912 days? That's around about 3 years, isn't it? 3 years every single day, and that says it all, doesn't it? It says it all. So this is like the gamification part of it. So if you think of Duolingo, if anybody uses it, is how you can encourage students to use things like that in the classroom. Okay, if you've got a reward system, as I mentioned, my background's in computing, and one of the things I've developed is a screen interface for young children, for preschool children. Okay, and again, that was based on a reward system. So, but if they did a task, they did it well, they get rewarded, and then it was observations for them as well. So it's a really nice thing to do to get involved with your students. Okay, so if you're wondering now, how can I do this in my classroom? So if anybody here is sort of technically minded like myself, there is an application known as EdApp, and this allows you to create content very quickly that can be served either on a website or on a mobile phone. So this was the example that I put together for a member of staff who is in hairdressing. Okay, so the idea is you just get some images, you upload the images. Once the images are there, you set the question, and then you look where there's going to be an answer, which is going to be the right answer, which is going to be the wrong answer. So because it's done so quickly, it doesn't mean you spending hours upon hours upon hours of doing something. We have had systems in the past that have just taken 4 or 5 hours to do something that took 20 minutes to complete. So it was something's like not really effective with your time, but it's better than this. It works perfectly. Okay, so I would encourage you to have a look at EdApp, and here's what it looks like on the mobile phone. So you've got your introduction. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I know it's a little bit small. Then you press it, so it just says, okay, let's go. So you start the lesson, and then the question comes up and says, okay, you got a scissors with teeth. What are the scissors with teeth for? And then there was a few options telling you, okay, well, this scissors with teeth, that's for, I don't know any hairdressing terms, sorry, blending, is blending, yeah, there we are, blending. So something like that. And you'd use this as part of your learning. And if you look at the top, there's then a star. Okay, so every time you get that completed, the student then gets like the rewards, so they come through. So at the end of the whole of this little experience, little lesson that they do on their phones, they are then competing with each other, because you as a member of staff can go in and have a look at everybody's progress, everybody's score system. Okay, so it's about then trying to apply that in your own teaching. Okay, right, if to show that in your own teaching. So if your own teaching is going to be based on one particular thing, look to see where you could allocate it. And Phil is going to show you a few little things later on. So just now, moving on from gamification, and just to briefly touch on to what Professor Vimal mentioned earlier. This has been published by Pearson, so this is one of our examining boards. And on here is a list of different types of assessment that you could encourage your students to get involved in. So it's not just writing reports. So you've got the oral, you've got the dissertation, a written investigation, a performance, reports. Okay, there's witness statements, annotated photographs, self-reflection. You can have a copy of this, say it's published by Pearson, and I'll give you business cards later, so you can send me an email and I'll send this out to you as an image. And there's a lot of different things, and as long as you can embrace a slightly different idea, different concept of doing different things for assessment, anything is possible. Okay, you know, the examining boards are willing to accept different methods of assessment. It's not just now writing reams and reams of 4,000 words. It's about maybe producing a video, producing something that's really exciting for them to watch. You know, that's only 5-10 minutes long, but they still know the information. They still know everything to put into that scenario. Okay, so I do need to wind down a bit now. As you can tell, I get a little bit excited when I'm talking about education. So thank you ever so much for listening. And I will now hand back to Professor Vimal. And obviously, thank you for the winner who's at the back there with the answer. So well done. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. It was really enlightening for all of us. But just from curiosity, have you ever gone into a situation where only 1 or 2 students are participating? No.
But I've got an excellent method for that. So if you want, I can explain.
Yeah.
Okay. So for instance, I've used this a lot in teaching. So what I will do is, for instance, if I ask you a question and they say, I don't know, and you've got like, oh, okay, well, you're not allowed to not know. You have to give me an answer. You have to give me an educated answer. And if they still say, I don't know, I say, well, okay, can you have a think? Thinking time's allowed, and you've still been patient with that student. And then if they still say they don't know, or they don't want to get engaged, okay, what I'd like you to do is now listen to the next person, and then whatever question they give, if they get engaged, you need to repeat it word for word, okay? So, I've done this, and it's gone through about 5 or 6 students, but every time then we get to the last student, okay, to get engaged with the participation, we then work our way back. Once it happens once, it never happens again, right? So they're all engaged, they're all encouraged. So there's always participation in everything that you do. And it's about your personality projected to the student. Okay.
Thank you, Chris, for that comment. And I'll say our students who are like Generation Next, they really love these methods where we can use the gamification tools and at least integrate the lower order thinking skills in the questions. Because higher order thinking skills, I think we'll look into how the AI can always use, and also we have to be preparing, but at least the lower order thinking skills can be integrated in these type of tools, which Chris has mentioned, and there are many others. Before we go to the next speaker, I will request Professor C.S. Dubey sir to be giving small observations, because I think you are also in a hurry to leave. So welcome, Professor C.S. Dubey sir, Vice Chancellor of KR-Mangalam University.
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm sorry that, we have a habit of breaking the queues, and move faster, because there was a reason, because I have another meeting at 12 and I have to walk away to my university. Well, I just want to say a few words. First, everybody has said and told important things, which are really valuable in our life when we talk of future of learning. But I will just give my experiences, which I have held, because I was in a public sector university and then I went to a private university. 2 private universities rather. One was Sanskrit University, where I was Vice Chancellor, then came to KR-Mangalam University, and I was invited to be Vice Chancellor over there. What I found was a big difference between the two. The first difference is that there you can ask the teachers that please do this task and they have to do it. And you can see that but they are good learners. They want to learn. If you give them a target, if you have good ideas, they want to learn. Here you have already very good teachers in the public sector, but they have their own perceptions and they don't go by your perception. If you have some ideas, they will not follow your idea. I don't like, I may like or I may not like. This may be the reason, So I'll give you a little examples, When I went to this university, I thought the first thing was to change the curriculum of the system. And in the curriculum, what I did a simple thing. I call it a reverse engineering of the curriculum. I asked them to find out all the jobs in Google Jobs, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and other places. And I asked them to find out three important things. The first important thing was the soft skills required for a student. The second thing was the coding and programming or the hardware, software required. And the third thing was desirable qualifications or the experiential learning. And I asked them to imbibe those, put all those things in wherever it's applicable, it's allowed, you can do it. So they did it in their curriculum and our curriculum was made. Then we changed further the curriculum. We asked them to put the NEP, because I came in 2022. So I asked them to put the inputs of the NEP, that is giving more choices to the students, giving more options to the students, more flexibility, more multidisciplinary things. And I'll tell you, the courses have changed now, the syllabus, the new programs which have come. When I joined the university in 21-22, we had 1,000 admissions. In 22-23, we have 2,000 admissions when I joined. And now this year we have 3,000 plus admissions. So we are from 2,400 to almost 5,500 now. The reason is that my chair and other one, they wanted that NAC. If we produce NAC, if we get NAC A+, we will get the good students. And I said, no, if we have the quality of the teaching learning process, we will definitely get the good students and number of students. And therefore, we are working on NAC. We may get A+, but I'll tell you, we work more on the quality basis, and that led to this kind of number of seats which have increased now. So quality in curriculum. So we increased NEP. We introduced SDGs in 2022. We introduced the 4th IR things, put all those pointers, like, you say ethical, social, culture, environmental, global, whatever you say, those things put in the NAC, all things were put in that. And then we made an event calendar. We call it event calendar. This event calendar is a semester calendar whereby we have 11 schools, engineering, agriculture, management, law, all there are 11 schools. And in the 11 schools, we have a event calendar, which is based on all these pointers, And you have to do these things in the classroom as well as the outside the classroom, because we had a MOU with 5 nearby villages. So you have to do it in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. So the letharginess which was there in the students during the time of COVID, it went away. They were more practical. They went to, it looked to them as a picnic, but we wanted outcomes of that. So we said, for every event, we asked them what outcome you are bringing, whether you're going to bring a SDG outcome, whether you're going to bring an NP outcome, whether you're going to bring the students went to old age home because we taught them ethics. What is the ethics? Why you have to learn with what you have to learn for your parents. So they went to villages. They told them about the sanitation, hygiene, but they also learned from there how they cook their food. So all these things together gave an impetus to our university, and it rose like it started working. So this was in the curriculum aspect. And the foremost thing in the future of learning was that if you have a good curriculum, which is robust, which is all the things. The second thing is in the NEP, we made new courses, new programs. I came to know this year that in the last Executive Council, there was a discussion in the Delhi University that there was seats in science were not filled properly. I don't know why, but probably the reason being because all the universities, like our private universities now, they have programs with BBA with AI and ML. We have programs with CSE, with AI, ML, crowd computing. All these things are there. And I asked all the teachers that you have to have 4 things imbibed in your courses. That is fundamentals and applications of AI, ML, data analytics, and organizational behavior. It was already there, sir. If you remember your 4-year BIT program, which was in 2004, it was there in BIT program, and it is working now, sir, again, because it's the same thing. Your business intelligence was there. BI was already there in the 2004 syllabus of the Delhi University, BIT. So all those things mingled together, they gave us this kind of thing. So first thing, most important thing is curriculum. Now the research. In the research, we started giving incentives to the teachers. If they publish Q1 articles in the peer-reviewed Scopus or Web Science journals, we give 25,000 rupees. For Q2, we give some money. We give 3, we give some. And then came the turn that we are still slow. And recently the AI thing came up in a big way for the not Chat GPT-4, but I'll give you. There are 4 aspects of the in the AI system. If you see, there are 4 things. You must have heard. There is AI Bing. AI Bing is there. Bing AI we call new Bing AI. There is Chat GPT-4. There is Google Bard, and there is Gamma AI. All 4 have different kind of capabilities. So I learned those, and I gave a lecture to my whole teaching community. And I said, look, this is the way you make your papers, chapters, book chapters. And what they did, sir, the book chapters for the AI, they worked on that. I give you an example that one of my teacher wanted to write a paper on Indian knowledge system, write a book on book chapters on Indian knowledge system. She came to me and she said, I got 5 papers from the faculty, but the rest papers I am not getting. I said, fine. I'll give me 10 good students, you think, to me, and I will produce your papers, I called them, I gave them 2.5-hour lectures. Not only this AI I gave them, I asked them to put Internet Archive, the Google Alerts, so that Google Alerts, if you put Google Alerts, they will always give you all the things which specialize, whatever you want, it will be there in your mail. So you can have Google Alert, Google Scholar, and ResearchGate. Only 5 things I said you concentrate, and there was another thing called as forgottenbooks.com. So 5 things. So previous, future, everything is there. You now write the book chapters, and how much book chapters I got in 1.5 months? 450 book chapters. 450 book chapters. We have something like 50 books which are coming up in this 1.5 months, and none of them, the publication people took it very nicely. Why I'm saying this? People here in India say, no, it is non-ethical. It is unethical to go with the AI. See US. Why US is emerging as toppers? Because in the top US is the topper for the AI publications. If you see, there's a article called as AI in the higher education, state of art. You can see that paper. In that paper, 138 studies are there. In 138 studies, they have shown that what are the AI which can do for the higher education. And in that, sir, I will say the best part was that the America emerged the #1 because their publications became 3 times what they had in 2021. And the other publications like the China is the #2. And why can't India become the next? This is my question. I think this is the right time for people to understand. So these are few points I want to tell you that, it is future of learning is totally different now. It is coming to a different level now. You have to work across, and teachers have to be not only this. I just gave it. You have that. Just 1 minute. I'll show you my next step. I'll give you my next step. Now, the question is that I got the very good syllabus. I started teaching. The teachers became well versed with the things. Got it? Okay. So, yeah, it will not come. Anyway, leave it. I just want to give that.
I'll share it.
So, now the problem, what problem came to me, there was a meeting of Coursera and India Direct, so there were 50 vice chancellors. And they said, what are your failures? Each vice chancellor should tell what are their failures. And I told the failure. I told my failure is that I made a good curriculum. I made the teachers well versed, but I didn't find the industrial problems. Unless you have the industrial problems with you, how come the students will learn to solve those problems? That is my question. And I got an award on that your question was the best question, because this is required, that we need to have interrelations with the industry, and we need to know the problems of the industries. So this is another thing which has come up. So now I dedicated this to mentor-mentee relationships, which I have given you in this diagram. I am trying to separate all these kind of, what student want. You can't say everyone wants a job. Some people want to go in IAS, some want to join industry, someone wants to join with industry, the other programs, so higher studies. So you have to define the mentor-mentee relationship for all 4 years together in that way. Once you do that, you will be able to help the students. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, and bringing into the perspective that how the industry related problem. And I think as teachers, we have to really look onto real life applications and integrate them. And now, without taking much time, I'll be requesting our next speaker, Professor A.K. Bakshi, sir, Vice Chancellor, UPRTO and PDM University, former, and our mentor. Sir, are you there? He has joined from UK. So I just talking that UK team has come here, and we have sent our one member also. Can you unmute, sir?
Just a minute. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible, Vimal? Vimal, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Esteemed dignitaries present on the occasion, including Sardar Trilochan Singh Ji, Chairman, Governing Body, SGTB Khalsa College, Professor Ved Prakash Ji, Professor Phil Jones and Professor Christopher Manley, our guests from UK, Professor Jaswinder Singh, Professor Vimal Raj, Professor Sarita Pasi, invited guests, Professor Mia, Professor Kalra, Professor Dubey and Professor Savita Roy, and last but not the least, dear delegates from all over the country who are present in this seminar being conducted in the hybrid mode. It's indeed a great honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to share some of my thoughts at this INDO-UK webinar on future of teaching, learning and assessment in higher education, being organized by the GAD-TLC in collaboration with MPTC Group of Colleges, Wales, UK. And I would like to compliment Professor Vimal Rar for taking this great initiative of organizing this webinar, of course, with the support of Professor Jaswinder Singh and other organizing committee members. Before I start my talk, let me share my screen. Would you please confirm, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the title of my talk, Future of Teaching, Learning and Assessment in Higher Education. You know, let me say at the very beginning that predicting the future of anything is always risky in the face of unknown variables and changing conditions. But still, I will make an attempt. This talk is based on my conceptualization and vision. In first part, I will talk about challenges before education in the 21st century. See, education is the process of facilitating learning. And this slide summarizes everything. Education, whether it is formal, non-formal, or informal, it helps in learning. And learning can only be of these three types: knowledge, skills, or personality, values, etc. And in knowledge, cognitive domain, our head is involved. In skills, psychomotor domain, our hand is involved. And in personality, it is the heart which is involved, and that is in affective domain. So any knowledge it may be, ultimately it helps in getting these three things, and this helps in producing a competent professional, responsible citizen, and a good human being. That's the ultimate goals of education. That's basically the holistic development. So this slide in a way summarizes the entire education thing. And here personality, I don't mean looks. Personality refers to the set of traits and behaviors that characterize an individual. But knowledge, skills, and personality, how they are taught, they come under the basis of Bloom's taxonomy. As you can see here, there is a Bloom taxonomy for knowledge, which comes under cognitive domain. There is a Bloom's taxonomy for skills and also for personality. So these are the various levels along which, you know, knowledge, skills, or personality are imbibed. And you know, this is the basis of teaching, learning, and assessment. If teaching is to be done, this is to be along these levels. And if assessment is to be done, this is also along these levels. So this will ultimately be the basis of entire teaching, learning, and assessment in future. One thing we have to keep it in mind, that knowledge is theoretical while the skill is practical. Therefore, we need different approaches for teaching them. You cannot teach skill the way we teach knowledge. So this is something we have to keep it in mind. Now, you know, education is relevant only, and it is of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. And the 21st century world is changing very, very fast. The main challenges to the education system in the 21st century come from these two things. One is the Sustainable Development Goals, which are a part of the United Nations Agenda 2030. These represent the human problems. And second is the technological advancements and industrial revolutions. So Sustainable Development Goals need to be a part of curriculum, whereas technological advancements and others, they affect the imparting of education. About Sustainable Development Goals, as you all know, United Nations in 2015 gave this Agenda 2030, where 193 countries, including India, signed this. And these are the 17, Sustainable Development Goals. As you can see, they represent the real world problem. And education system needs to address them. And in this Sustainable Development Goal 4 is quality education, which is the basis of sustainable development. Why these have become very important? Because first of all, India is a signatory, and then our performance on Sustainable Development Goals is not very satisfactory. Look at this. In Environmental Performance Index, India ranks at 180th position. And in Sustainable Development Report, India ranks at 121. So there is a lack of awareness about sustainable development, etc. And therefore, this needs to be a part of teaching, learning, and curriculum. Coming to the second point, industrial revolutions and technological advancements are changing the world. We are now having Industrial Revolution 4 and Industrial Revolution 5. And corresponding to that, we have Education 4.0 and Education 4.5.0. We have to keep it in mind that Industrial Revolution, education system, and society, they are all interlinked. Each historical industrial revolution created a system of education that addressed its needs. So this further brought about a changes in society. For example, for Industrial Revolution 4, we have Education 4.0 and then the Society 4.0. So they are all interlinked. This was my recent article about how Education 4.0 will work for coming generations. And because of these industrial revolutions and technological advancements, there are many challenges to education system. First, there is uncertainty about future jobs. We do not know where our students will be employed. Then artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation are taking over the things. Then there is a massification of higher education. Universities and countries are working on gross enrollment ratio. So traditional jobs are becoming less, but more graduates are coming. So that creates a tough competition. Then there is a need to adapt Industrial Revolution 4 and even 5. Then we are now having multiple sources of knowledge. There was a time when teacher used to be the only source of knowledge. And then there is a mismatch between education and employment. The skills which our students acquire and what the industries require, there is a mismatch because of these technological advancements. So these are the big challenges. And education system will have to address all of them. As it has already been mentioned, artificial intelligence is transforming the world. All these jobs which are repetitive or are of predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, or no research base, those jobs are in danger due to artificial intelligence, automation, or robotics. Then ChatGPT has come, which has revolutionized the entire teaching learning. We will see it. And this is one of the fastest growing app in the world. And then DAL-E2 has come, where you can create images just by giving the text. This is another revolution. All these are artificial intelligence empowered, computer programs. And now it is said that humans may not be required in future for the so-called left brain function. We have the left brain functions like analytical thinking, logic, etc. For them, artificial intelligence will take over everything, because anything that can be measured by numbers can be solved by artificial intelligence models. So in future, humans will not be required for the so-called left brain functions. We need to focus on emotional intelligence, creativity, critical thinking, etc. So in view of these technological advancements, it is difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. And you will agree that technology already, since Corona pandemic, has impacted all areas of higher education in the country. And one must keep it in mind that technology is only an enabler. It is only a tool. It is not a panacea. Look at this. This summarizes the changes which have already come in higher education sector all over the world. Teaching learning is now in the form of e-learning, MOOCs, PowerPoint, video clippings, etc. Experimental work is done through virtual labs. Revision of syllabi you can do through email, video conferencing. In research, electronic databases are becoming a big source of information. Online examination or assessment is becoming very popular. We have National Testing Agency. Then professional development of the teachers is done now online. And then we have ICT empowered pedagogy. So you can very well see how technology has impacted the entire higher education. And now even National Digital University is going to come in India from this year. So one more change which is going to occur in the years to come is increasing importance of skills in the 21st century. And this I will take in this part. See, quality education in the 21st century will focus on these three things: knowledge, 21st century skills, plus domain specific skills, and then personality, values, etc. So everybody is focusing on that. All universities are now conducting skill enhancement courses and value added courses just to boost up skills and personality. So because these three things will ultimately determine the competence of an individual. So that is what the focus of quality education is going to be. And in this, skills are going to become very important. Now it is said that every student in this country, everybody should know about 21st century skills. These are a set of abilities which we need in order to succeed in this century. They come under three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. For example, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Then we need information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, and then life skills, flexibility, leadership. So all these fundamental skills are a must to enhance our performance. Why they have become so important? Because artificial intelligence cannot replicate them. You cannot have machines with these skills. You can't have a machine which is creative or which has a leadership quality. So there is a lot of focus on this in future teaching learning. But in India, skill development continues to be a major concern, although we have a separate ministry for this. But still, we don't have enough skilled workforce. And there is a report that by 2024, there is going to be a shortfall of over 4 million high-skilled workers in the world. So you can very well imagine that our teaching learning in future needs to focus on this. And look at this. These are some of the big companies. They are now looking beyond academics. They are hiring people, without degrees, provided they have the skill set. The rules of the game are changing. These companies use skill-based aptitude tests and psychological profiling to recruit people. So this is a big change which is occurring. And there is a World Economic Forum report 2020 which says that after pandemic, half of all jobs will substantially change due to automation. Therefore, the current workforce will need to quickly reskill or upskill. So that is what is now going to take place in the years to come. A lot of focus on skills. And one more thing which is now coming in many countries is the concept of micro-credentials. Micro-credentials are a great way to learn a new skill or a competency or even an industry-aligned short course, which you may be needing to expand your career opportunities. They are like nano degrees, bite-sized chunks of knowledge studied within a very short time, a few days or a few weeks. So these micro-credentials are becoming the talk of the town now. They are a proof of the learning outcomes that a learner has acquired following this learning experience. But it is said that the learning outcomes should have been assessed against transparent standards. That is a must for micro-credentials. And some institutions are even offering credit-bearing micro-credentials that can be applied towards a larger credential or qualification, including some UG programs. And if a learner has obtained micro-credential, one gets a digital badge or a certificate of proof. So you can very well see how skills are becoming very important in the years to come. Please remember, future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways. Now I'll come to teaching learning, how this is going to change further. There are 3 steps in imparting quality education in the country. One is the curriculum, second is pedagogy, and third is assessment. You may talk about quality education, but when the question comes up, imparting these 3 are very important. And I personally feel teaching learning is the most important component of the educational process. Curriculum is there, and even our policy says curriculum needs to be light, modern, skill-based, and industry-led. That is what I said. And even now, global problems of sustainable development also should be a part of curriculum. But in respect of teaching learning, irony of our country is focus of teaching learning is on well-filled mind. But what we need is well-formed mind, which comes out of thinking, innovation, and creativity. Because real education must transform the learners. It's not just like a bank account, you keep on adding more and more. No, that will not work. And we must keep it in mind that learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of activity of the learners. So we need to engage learners. So this is the new trend that we need to follow learner-centric methods, because better engagement of learner leads to better retention of learned information. So, we will slowly have to shift from teacher-centric to learner-centric pedagogies. Because students learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skills, because they need them to solve the problems at hand. So this will bring about a shift from rote learning to experiential learning. That is the learning by doing. And as you can see here, the retention rate of experiential learning is 75%, whereas for a lecture, it is just 5%. So, as John Dewey very rightly mentioned, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. So experience plus reflection equals learning. And to foster experiential learning and critical thinking among students is also an objective of national education policy. But then this experiential learning needs to be adopted at all levels, not only at higher education. It should start from school level. And these are the various methods of, learner-centric education. You can have problem-based learning, project-based learning, case studies, inquiry-based learning, flipped classroom, collaborative learning, community outreach, internship, and so much. All these are engaging learners, and they will certainly help in the learning process. The problem in our country is that we know these methods, but we are not embracing them. We are not following them. We still follow the traditional method where you are told what you need to know. A student memorizes it, and then a problem is assigned to illustrate how to use it. So we need to follow problem-based learning, where problem is assigned. Let the student find out what he or she needs to know in order to solve that, then learn it and apply and solve the problem. So similarly, we have project-based learning. We also have collaborative learning. I have some idea, you have some idea, we share our idea, then the best idea comes. And here, this TPS collaborative learning strategy is becoming very popular. Think, pair, and share. You give question to somebody, somebody comes out with an idea, then you pair that person, the two share their idea, then the best idea comes. Then them make a part of the class, they all discuss, and the best idea comes. So it promotes participation, focuses attention, and engages students. And it turns classroom into a collaborative learning community. Even, one should learn how to implement experiential learning in a classroom. Because for every lecture, there are some learning objectives. You identify the learning objectives, then you plan the specific learning activities for that. Then you also plan to assess the student's understanding of those objectives. And then plan to sequence the lesson in a very systematic and logical manner. Create a realistic high timeline. So,
sir, very sorry to interrupt, but we are running short of time and we have to vacate the premises. So please, if you can, very sorry, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then we have also the flipped classroom model, which will focus on higher order thinking skills. So this is, and in all these methods, learners will become active, highly independent and creative thinkers. So, and in future, self-learning is going to be the new norm. The way the things are going on, 90% student population will be in online education by 2050. So this is going to be the future, and gamification is going to come, and so many, and then metaverse in education is going to come. That is the future, where you can attend virtual classes remotely with the help of artificial reality, augmented reality, and virtual reality. And there are also question marks over the future of the teaching profession, because some teachers now worry that perhaps there will be no students to teach anymore in near future as technology might take over them. World is slowly moving towards personalized learning. That is what is going to happen. So personalized learning is meeting the needs of each individual learner. And then assessment is also going to be very important, because assessment drives learning, and our examination system is still rote-based. We need to have assessment process more scientific to encourage multiple skills of the students. We need to work on that. And in this, teachers can play a very important role. And I will just finish it in 2 minutes more. So, the best way is no single method can assess all the thinking skills. So for lower order thinking skills, we can have MCQs, short question answers, match, fill in the blanks, etc. And for higher order thinking skills, we can have projects, internships, e-portfolios, etc. Then technology also helps you in having these picture-based, audio-based, video-based questions. So then artificial intelligence can also help in assessment, in adaptive assessment. Algorithms will replace mentors. In future, we are going to have exams on demand. Whenever you demand, that is going to happen. So, and lastly, just 1 minute, the roles of the teachers are going to change significantly. Now we are going to have even the robot teachers. They may replace human teachers in future. But we must remember that only a human teacher can bring real connection, socialization, and creativity to the classroom. So the roles of the teachers are going to be, they need to become tech savvy in ICT skills. They may have to manage virtual classroom and discussion forum. They are more like, mentors, and they should also be proficient in the development of e-content. So change of mindset is required amongst teachers. Don't think what I know is enough, I must learn more. So these are some of the basic technological skills which the world says every teacher should have. These are the skills, ICT skills, which every teacher should have. Please remember, the key to meeting challenges in higher education in future lies in the regular empowerment of the teacher. Without empowering teachers, nothing can be achieved. Because at the micro level, they are the real, change agent. And it is very rightly said that the quality of an educational system cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. So we must raise the competence level of teachers, then things will automatically change. It should not be just on paper. It should actually be implemented in the country, in every institution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Finding time out of your busy schedule, and I know it's an odd time, but thank you so much. And now I will request Phil Jones to talk something more about AI, maybe show some demonstration, and yeah, thank you. Over to you, Phil. Just a minute.
I will try to keep this very short. Can I first of all thank Professor Singh and Professor Vimal for the invitation today to the seminar, and can I thank all the speakers who have spoken. From what I've heard today, the future of higher education in India is safe in the hands of these leaders, because what they have said today is exactly what we have been doing in some of the West, and it is mirroring some of the techniques that we've maybe started a little earlier, but they are right. You are on the right road. So let me tell you, you are on the right road. In terms of, can I also thank, I can see one or two of the teachers from Khalsa College. I spent a day there meeting some fantastic teachers and some brilliant students. And again, they are your future. And again, India's future is safe in their hands, because they will adapt, they will develop, with leadership, they will take this next step in terms of the teaching and learning in higher education. Can I? Yeah. I need to go to. Yeah. So can I PowerPoint to start with?
Just click on share screen. Now you can see the second.
Technical problems.
You can close one or two other applications.
You just reload to stop.
We can just stop.
What I'm going to talk to you about are the two very brief things. Why teaching and learning has developed and became very important in higher education in UK. And really, it's only since 2017 that the priority of teaching and learning came in. You may be aware in okay. Okay. So the advanced HE said enhancing teaching and learning in higher education is the most strategic element that we have to do. So advanced HE, you may know, many of you may be fellows of the advanced HE. So what has driven it then? For example, what now has driven it was this teaching excellence. 2017 we started. Universities were rated at that time. Due to COVID, the ratings haven't changed. But in September 2003, today, these ratings are changing. So the National Student Survey for each university will change. So the universities are now doing everything they can to improve the teaching within the college. As well as having gold, silver, and bronze, they have also looked at requires improvement. And no university wants to see requires improvement. And therefore, each university is looking to improve their teaching, and because they're going to be assessed against the criteria. King's College, I'm expecting to come out with gold. They had a silver in 2017. You can imagine what they have done to make sure that they have a gold, because these not so much for the top universities, but for your second tier universities, students are looking at the quality of teaching, because that is what is important to them. Very often, the quality of the research when they go to that university might not be the deciding factor if they go there, but the quality of the teaching they get might well be. So they are looking at these. So we will see what their result is later this month. So, as I mentioned before, the students have a survey, and they look at and assess or give their voice on teaching, the feedback and assessments that they've been through, the support they've received from the university, the learning resources that teachers have now produced. all lectures now in the UK, in Wales, are videoed and are available that day for students. They can go and see them 24/7. So that is an agreement between the university and the students. Student voice is very powerful now. Since 2017, student voice, they have the ability to go to different universities. Their voice is very important, and that's what's driven the requirement for improvement. So what are the trends we're seeing? All university staff now have to do a master's in teaching pedagogy. It is a requirement. You cannot come in now with your PhD and think, I can teach. You have to do a master's in teaching pedagogy. You have to understand the methods of delivery to your students. The idea of dual professionalism is now accepted in all universities, and TEF has actually driven this. One of the things as well is shared teaching observations. Very frightening for many of the university lecturers when we started, but where we've got is we are doing shared sessions with teaching staff where they invite other teaching staff in to observe their teaching. And if a member of staff is very good at doing group work with a large auditorium, many teachers will go and observe them and see how they are good at that teaching. And how do we know they're good? The students tell us. The students tell us these are the good lecturers. We know who they are. So what we do is we share their strategies with the other teachers. And very often at the start, we ask for volunteers to do it. And more it's becoming everybody is volunteering to do or show something in their area. Evidence-based strategies, the work of Hattie and Mazzano. We've already talked about the different methodologies. We know the methodologies, the evidence is there, the meta-analysis is out there, the work is out. It was exactly as you said, we know it's there, we just need to get all the teachers delivering that way. Assessment changes are coming in a big way. AI, we've already heard about reports and chapters written for books, 450 within a short period. They will write a thesis, they will write a PhD. So we cannot assess students in the old way. We have to look for authentic versions of assessing students. And that is going to be a big challenge with the use of the technology. I think you spoke about universities without walls. That is a reality now. We have Cambridge who are offering degrees to people and they will never actually visit Cambridge. We are looking at doing qualifications where our students will never come to MPTC. We already have students that we are giving qualifications to that will never come to NEAT. So it is something that you're going to see in universities as well. In Wales, one of the big things we've done is we've brought all 16 degree students under the one commission so that all training is looked after by one organization and the universities, so we can plan for the for students going from the 16, 17, 18 up through the education system. And that's the first time in Wales. So we are the first to actually develop this. So from the age of 16 until they leave education, they come under one authority. What are we doing now? In terms of AI, we have now got a program called Teachermatic. This is an AI teaching tool to teach teachers how to use AI. So it will help them, and one of my roles is I'm the director of teacher training. And what we will do is we will use this with some of our teachers to help them to produce lesson plans that have Bloom's taxonomy. We will use it with them to produce PowerPoints and good questioning. but not just the lower order, but higher order questioning there. So it will support, and that's the emphasis, support that. If I can, I'll just briefly show you that, and Vilma will help me because she is wonderful on the
This machine.
so this is now the first time in September. It'll be the first time we use this with teacher training. So it's based on ChatGPT 3, but it's designed specifically for teachers.
Or it was Chrome.
Was it Chrome?
Let's see what other applications are open.
No, open it again if I. So this is a live demonstration. You'll never do a live demonstration. If you're teaching, never do it live. But
for teachers, so we have to keep it as a trick, no? That we have not generated it from AI. You are already logged in, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go to scroll down.
I may need to log out and log back in.
You go to
You're already logged in.
dashboard.
And no. Oh. I'm glad someone wasn't coming to observe me today. I wouldn't have it a good mark. Okay, I will only show you a very quick demonstration, but this will be the first time that, log in. So it will be a tool for lecturers within the college to generate material using the ChatGPT. So if I show you perhaps just the lesson plans. This is what happens when you're used to touch screen. Here we go, lesson plan. Okay, so this is now available to our teachers, and what we will do is we will need to train them. And when I go back in September, part of my team will be to train teachers how to use this tool. There were some wonderful lessons yesterday in biology, so I will put in that we're going to do a lesson on DNA structure. The more information you put in, I'm sure you know how GPT works, the more information, the length of the lesson. I'm not going to look at the employability skills or at this stage. I might have later on. I'm just going to do it on DNA structure, and I'm going to generate that. And what it will do is it'll produce hierarchy of objectives. And so if you can see, if I can move this down, can you see that it mentions Bloom's taxonomy? So if I want, I've got this, can I move this? Yeah. So if I want to have an evaluation in there, and I want synthesis, and let's say I do want some knowledge based as well, I can regenerate the lesson plan, and it can produce a lesson plan or a starting point for teachers. So
within a very short period, and I'm not sure what you can see on the screen there, you can see describe, which is the knowledge base, going up to compare and contrast. And you can do this with any subject. We tried it on chemistry yesterday. It does questions, it does higher order questions, it does activities. It is a very powerful tool, but it is only there to support what goes on. And to finish, if anybody during the break would like to talk to me about this, I'm happy to show you some more on that. What I will say in finish, can you see that? This is Professor John Hattie. One of the things that he has found from his work and from the meta-analysis is that we need to move towards student-centric learning. It's actually more important than technology. Poor teaching will not be improved by technology. Let me tell you that now. Yeah, AI, whatever, poor teaching will not be improved. What will be improved, how to improve, will be curriculum and pedagogy, and technology can help those. But the starting point will be the curricula, the pedagogy, and all then those tools can help. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, lunchtime, I'm happy to take them. Thank you very much.
We would like to see, what do your training course material, if you can share with us, we would be very happy, because the pedagogy material that you teach, and the assessment tools, very specific assessment tools that maybe in the break we will use.
In the break, because
I have my computer.
Yeah.
All of our teaching materials are in Moodle, which are available in India, and so I can show you the actual courses, and I'm happy to share that with you. Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. I think it was wonderful. You have even demonstrated how the AI tools can be used. But then you rightly said that as teachers, we have to really learn so that they empower us, not that they replace us or we are just taking it as a escapism tool. But definitely with these tools, we can really make our more activity-based learning, the problem-solving approaches, where more time can be, because right now it is more focused on just the information sharing. So with these tools, I think we have to really become knowledgeable, try to use them, and in different subjects, there will be different issues coming. It will be good that we keep on having interaction, like in chemistry. I could not find any question where the equation was there or a graph was there. So still a long way to go, but I'm sure the future is here and we are all ready to take. And before we leave, one token of appreciation, Professor Savita ma'am is there. Maybe a few observations very quickly, sir. Professor Kalla, sir, please, and maybe Mohammed Mia also, sir. 1 minute, yeah. And we can welcome ma'am also, Dr.
Ma'am, Professor Kalla, you first welcome.
Sarita, if you can help me, because you joined late.
Professor Kalla, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, you can get it.
Which college yours?
Sir, he is the principal of the college.
Principal of UGC.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Should I say something?
Yeah, please, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, we ran late. Actually, we had that. Yeah.
No.
Good afternoon, friends, dignitaries of the dais, and dear friends. Since we are running very late, so I'll not be standing between you and the lunch for a long time, just 2 or 3 minutes. And just 2, 3 points I want to make, and most of it is already covered. One is, of course, we know that the Government of India has fixed a target for attainment of gross enrollment ratio to 50 by 2035. That means we have 12 more years for that. We can say that almost for the last 75 years or so since independence, we have been able to attain a target of up to 27 so far. And I think earlier it was 10, 12 or so. So attaining a target from 27, jumping on to 50 seems to be really Herculean task and seems improbable. And if we are looking where now we have 1,126 universities, if we are thinking of making brick and mortar universities and having so many teachers to come and teach them, it is virtually going to be impossible. So the only way forward is going to be, which we are talking of, future of teaching learning in relevant to our country, is what has already been said by so many people. Universities without frontiers. The healthcare institutions without frontiers was awarded Nobel Prize a few years ago. And I'm sure if we carry the slogan of universities without frontiers, we are going to achieve that target. And the only way is online education. But online education alone cannot achieve it. So therefore, the model has to be hybrid education. So therefore, we need few rooms, few teachers, supported by hybrid mode of learning. Then only we can achieve that target or come near that target. That is one thing which I wanted to say. The second thing which I want to say, in order to support the first contention, in 2015, 1st July, our Prime Minister had made the announcement when the National Digital Mission was launched. And the National Digital Mission at that time was launched primarily to increase the internet connectivity in our villages. And the main idea of enhancing the internet connectivity in the villages was to make sure that the various schemes of the government, which are meant to be beneficiary schemes for the people over there, should reach the target. But then soon after that, in 2019, we were confronted with COVID-19. And in 2020, our Prime Minister again made the statement that we are facing the challenge of confronting with the need of increased connectivity with the people or internet connectivity with the people a bit too early, because the scheme which was launched, Digital Health Mission, which was launched, or Digital Mission, which was launched initially to enhance the connectivity for our rural people, now this was being utilized for improving the healthcare connectivity for the people. The third thing which I want to say is the provisions in the NEP for enhancing the practical project-based learning, problem-based learning, experiential learning. I belong to a university, SGT University, which is primarily a health science university. Almost all the courses which we are running are professional courses. And for the healthcare persons, the biggest industry is there in our own hospital. Because whether it is a medical student, it is a dental student, it is a pharmacy student, it is a nursing student, allied health people, they have to go to the hospital and learn it. And so far, for our medical friends, the best way of learning is either bedside learning or chairside learning. For those who are in non-healthcare industry or non-healthcare professionals, there it is the industry-based learning. Our university has been working very hard to make sure that our students get exposure to various forms of practical learning or industrial visits are made. We have the National Reference Simulation Center where students and nurses and nursing professionals from all over the country, they come and they are trained over here and they carry the training to their respective institutions. I think the way forward for us is only experiential learning, the way it used to be imparted centuries ago in the typical Guru Shishya Parampara, where the student has to learn right, sitting with the teacher, and has to learn the way it has to be practiced in reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And so 1 minute from Professor Mohammad Mia, sir. Please, Honorable Vice Chair. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. थोड़ा ध्यान से.
Thank you very much. And academics on the dais, and I get an opportunity to speak for 2 minutes, 1 minute ka 2 minute bolta hu main. And one thing very important, because as an observant, my observation is that what our speakers have told us about the quality of education, higher education, is a pedagogy and its assessment. That is the important issue. And what is going on, how the developments are incorporated in the education system, and how we can not only develop, say, the students, but the students after becoming graduates or scientists, they should be creator, knowledge creator also. So one thing very important, my observation, I will not go in detail. Everybody talks about Bloom's taxonomy. That what is education? 3 areas of education: cognitive, psychomotor, affective domain. Cognitive, psychomotor, affective domain. It means the development of the human individual, I want to connect it with the Mahatma Gandhi's definition of education. I don't know whether you have seen or read it. Mahatma Gandhi defined education as education is all-round development of mind, body, and spirit. Mind, psychomotor, body. Well, mind means cognitive, body, psychomotor, and affective domain, All Bloom's taxonomy and Mahatma Gandhi's definition of education, they could combine. And Bloom's taxonomy also gives you a kind of comprehensive idea how to plan your teaching methodology and also how to make the assessment, though I have taught during my tenure measurement and evaluation, but I will not go into details of that, But what is very, very important is that we have to develop students to be creator. We have to development a student's personality. And now looking from the point of view that it is why we development of human being. After that, one wants to work here. So employment opportunities, how to we have just looked at it, that professional education, professional and vocational education. So we have to prepare students. We have to prepare for the employment, and we have to create the employment opportunities. Thank you very much. And I think it was very enlightening for me, particularly for you also, to listen to all the speakers. And this is very, very useful sessions. Particularly, I am retired in the last 10 years. So I may not be connected with that, but this is an opportunity where I have got to learn a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And in our profession, I think one should never retire and keep on guiding the younger generation. And that's what we are looking for in all of you. Now, one very quick announcement. The feedback link will be shared to both of the participants in person as well as online. That is very important to be filled up. We'll look forward to that. Your certificates for the offline participants can be collected outside from the registration desk. The online one, they will be sent through mail. And the lunch is ready. You can enjoy the interactions and take some more pictures with the experts from UK and from India. And I thank each one of you who have joined in face-to-face mode, in online mode. And special thanks goes to Professor Ved Prakash sir, Sardar Talochan Singh sir, Professor Mohammad Mia sir, Professor O.P. Kalra sir, Professor C.S. Dubey who has left, Professor A.K. Bakshi who joined online, Professor Savita Roy ma'am, who slightly joined but then late, and sorry that we could not add your speaker time, but I'm sure all of you are going to interact in real, and that's what I think my online colleagues will be missing. So see you soon, sometime in online mode and sometime in offline mode. So with these words, thank you everyone, and we look forward for greater interaction. Thank you. You can take the certificates from here. There is the other team who has taken the registration. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.